Hello, everyone. This is Bill Giannone, and welcome back to our series on 10 Days to a Better Company. Today's day 3, and we're going to discuss labor costs. How good is your work? On days 1 and 2, we talked about your revenue, and we talked about what we called slippage, how much of our invoice we're giving away because we can't collect it all. And those two give us some really good data on determining what is an important aspect of our company, which is obviously the revenue that gets generated. We also are able to look at some of our processes through determining how much slippage we're giving away. And we always want to make sure we understand that it's not what you bill for, it's what you actually collect. Well, now we're going to start getting into some of the costs for our project. And by and large, on every restoration project, the number one cost is labor. It's very important to know your true labor costs. Guys, when I talk to most of you out in the field and I ask, what is your labor cost? I get a number that sounds something like this. Well, I had 3 guys on the project and each one of them makes $15 an hour. So that's $45 an hour. They work for 20 hours. So my labor cost was $900. And you know what? That all sounds very logical, very cogent. And it sounds like you guys did some research and were able to give me some really good data. But I'm here to tell you that that data is only partially correct. What you've given me when you say $15 an hour is you've given me their hourly wage. They're giving me that initial number that you and the employee always talk about as to what they're going to make. Well, as an owner, your labor cost far exceeds just their hourly wage. So let's talk about some of the things that go into that and why it's so important to calculate them. Yes, we've got the hourly wage, whether it's a weekly hourly rate or whether it's a percentage rate. Maybe some of you have deals with your technicians where they get paid a percentage of the invoice. That's all well and good. We still have to know what that number is. But then on top of that, almost all of you are going to have additional costs. You're going to have what we call payroll burden. You have a cost when you pay an employee $15 an hour. There's a cost associated with that the federal government and for many of you, your state governments apply to you in addition to their wage. That's what it costs you to keep them employed as well. That has to be included. That's a direct cost to their labor. Again, many of you will provide benefits to these employees. You'll provide them with either a retirement plan, 401k, something like that, where you may be matching part of their contribution. Well, their contribution is usually based on a percentage of their revenue. So you can figure out what your benefit level would cost you. If you're giving them medical benefits or any kind of other benefits, you need to understand that those benefits count as part of your labor costs. Finally, we've got workers' compensation benefits. You pay a workers' compensation insurance rate to your insurance company based on, in large part, the hourly rate of your individuals, not just their hourly amount, but how many hours they work. So you can actually come down and drill down a cost for their workers' comp payments as well. Very important to understand that all of these costs are considered labor burdens. So once you know those costs, let's review the total number of hours that everybody works, but let's make sure we have all of those expenses in the hourly rate. So we'll take the hourly rate, including those costs. We will multiply it by the hours worked, and that will give us our true labor costs. Once again, we always want to ask the question, why does this matter to us? Well, there's several important reasons why factoring labor cost does matter. First of all, it is the most expensive cost on your project. So having an awareness of this cost can help you perform better in the future. It gives you a really, really good target number to make sure you understand what it is costing you. Second, comparing your cost to the allowable amount in Xactimate will show you whether your crews are working fast enough. Guys, for those of you who don't know this, Xactimate makes an assumption of how long it'll take your guys to perform their functions. At the end of every Xactimate estimate, you can create a labor production log that says how many hours are assumed in the invoice you've created. So you can look at that number of the assumed rate of production and compare it to the rate of production that your guys actually did on a project. This tells you that if you're working longer hours than what Xactimate allows, one of two things is happening. Either your guys are working too slow, or you're not writing your estimates and invoices properly. So let's make sure we are able to discern which one is which. Finally, third, you'll also find out if you need to adjust your hourly rate in the program to line up with your cost of executing the work. Right now, Xactimate gives you a general amount of money that they assume you're paying your workers. Well, for a lot of companies, they don't adjust those rates in Xactimate to make their own price lists. You may find out that you're paying your guys $20 or $22 an hour, and then when you add on that burden, the amount of money it's costing you exceeds the amount of money Xactimate's giving you, because in your area, for instance, they might only be giving you $13 as the hourly wage with all the burdens attached. Please make sure you understand that, because it's very important that you bill properly for the amount of work you're doing. It's not good enough to just say, well, I assume Xactimate's giving me enough money. Most times, guys, they don't. So be really, really aware of that. These are very important analyses that you can undertake by doing a simple calculation of your labor costs. Thanks for joining us for day 3. Next presentation will be day 4, and we're going to talk about your materials and supplies costs on your projects. This is Bill Giannone. Again, on behalf of everyone at the Crest Network, I thank you very much for joining us, and you guys have a great day.